Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We'll wait for 2 to 3 minutes. Then we'll begin. Good afternoon. We'll wait 1 more minute. So the agenda is numismatics. Thereafter, we'll discuss literature, 2 heavy topics, and then what is left or what will be left are smaller topics: cultural institutions, classical language, UNESCO, tangible and intangible. Thereafter, regional architecture, then folk art. Then we'll do mains questions. Then we will also look at the prelims questions which are left. And over and above that, pottery we've done. You have to see handicrafts. And we'll also try to cover foreign travelers. These are the 3 heavy topics. Handicraft straightforward. Thereafter, awards, specifically Bharat Ratna and all. And then we'll discuss the ancient universities. And thereafter, current affairs. So these topics are 10, 10, 15, 15 minutes topics. These are the big ones. 1, 2, 3. Target is to finish these 3 for sure till 5 o'clock. Numismatics, literature, foreign travelers. Then cultural classic is 10, 10 minutes. UNESCO, tangible, intangible will take half an hour maximum. GI tags also we have to discuss. So then smaller topics, 15, 20 minutes, all of them. So let's start our story of numismatics. Now, what do I mean by this word? Numismatics. So numismatics is nothing but the study of coins. Epigraphy is the study of inscriptions. Numismatics is the study of coins. And in numismatics, there are 2 basic aspects. Why should we? Why should we study numismatics, which is coins in that regard? There are 2 aspects to it. One is the political history aspect, wherein coins can give us the name of rulers, their portraits, they can give dates, and they can also give what we call as important dynastic information, which dynasty they come from generally. Thereafter, Narendra, refresh. It should not be an issue. One voices should come only. Thereafter, other is economic, wherein the prosperity, economic stability, the minting cities. Minting is where the coins are made, and the coin itself has art and cultural value because it gives us glimpses of religious history, gods which are indicated. Further, it also gives us an understanding of how different aspects were represented. So, in a way, if you look at it, the numismatics or the study of coins are an invaluable source because they can give us economic, cultural, political history. On the other hand, the coins are in themselves a specimen of a certain type of architect, what we call as art design. So they give us a lot of interesting ideas. So when we talk about numismatics, they can give us the idea of source of metal, the weight, shape, the metal composition technique, all give us a certain amount of information about the past. Now, when we talk about coins itself, first coins or currency in India or Indian subcontinent, which period? Which period? Which period? No, not Indo-Greeks, not Mauryas, not Kushanas, not Indus Valley. Yes, Sarthak, very good. Arpita, good. Not later Vedic, not Gupta. Only Sarthak has given the right answer. Punch marked coins, Mahajanapadas period, 6th century BCE. And though we have terms, for example, Nishka, Nishkagriva, Hiranyapinda, these are words which are used in the Rig Vedic period. And in the later Vedic period, we have Nishka, Suvarna, Satvana, Pada. You need to know these terms. In the Vedic period, they refer to only gold. These are not words for coins. They're not words for coins. And it is only during the 6th century BC, under the Ashtadhyayi, and we have found archaeological evidences that the words just such as Kahapana, Nikha, Nishka, Satmana, Pada, Vimasikha, Suvarna. All of these were basically references to punch marked coins, which emerged in the Indian subcontinent as the first coinage in India. Now, I've talked about punch marked coins previously. Then, how are we having a different conversation here? Right now, I'm going to show you punch marked coins. And very simply, silver and copper were the standard metal which was used. Now, one thing, and very, very important point, I request you not to circulate the images of these coins, because some of these coins, specifically the Delhi Sultanate ones, are uh, from a source who's my friend who's been doing research on coins. So it is his research through which I've taken this with his request, or rather with his permission. I've requested him that he gave me these images, and they're not for public consumption. So I am showing it to you. You may find it online in certain spaces, but that is all copied from him. He is the real coins expert of medieval India, and he also has access to these different. He's a Delhi University PhD friend. So please have to make sure that we don't circulate these images outside. That's the basic point. It's for your consumption, it's for your understanding. That is a rider on what we are doing right now. Acceptable to everyone? I'm obviously not giving you his name. I'm not that dumb. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. Now, when we talk about punch marked coins, see, the problem with punch marked coins is why they are called punch marked coins is because they, on their obverse, which is the front, used to have certain symbols, but on the reverse, mostly plain. And why do we call them punch marked as They are very rudimentary coins. And could be in different shapes. Could be triangle, could be hexagonal, could be round, could be oval, could be cylindrical. The point is that they had multiple shapes, very crude looking coins. But what is interesting is that the symbols which were used were very standard, which is that in most of these coins, we'll find the sun symbol, we'll find a combination of a plant symbol, we'll find the bull, and we'll find these standard symbols related to certain type of topography. Now, the punch marked coins, irregular in their shape, standard weight. The humped bull was very common, and you also had the swastika. The Magad had the 5 symbol. But the simple point is that mostly circulated in the Mahajanpadas, but never had the quality of a good coin. But what is interesting is that the punch marked coins were taken forward by the Mauryans also. Mauryans also used punch marked coins. We already know that. Though Chanakya in Arthashastra refers to Rupaya, to Swarna Rupa, to Tamra Rupa, and Sis Rupa, which is terms for a silver, gold, copper, and lead coin. The point was that we have never found gold coins of the Mauryans. There's no evidence of gold Mauryan coins. They are only referred to in text. So we've not found Swarna Rupa in any way or form. And what we believe, the word Rupaya, the first time the word rupee, Rupaya or Ruparupa comes out of the Arthashastra. Still, the word Rupaya basically is Sheshasuri. It is still the punch marked coins which are called Rupa. And again, Tam Rupa we've not find and Sis Rupa we've not find. So in a way, what we only find are these, the mixture of copper and silver mix, or silver mostly. But when we talk about Mauryas, the symbols proliferate. And guess what this refers to? Guess what this refers to? Yes, very good. Stupa. So the stupa symbol now becomes very standard. You have the Dharma Chakra, you have the bull, you have the elephant, and you have the snake. Anybody has any understanding of why these three symbols are connected to each other? Why are they connected to each other? Yes, all symbols of Buddha. So he mostly used stupa as a very important symbol. But what Ashoka does is, Mauryans change the symbols on punch marked coins into Buddhist symbols. There's a major influx in that regard. And this is something which tells us how the Mauryans did have a certain type of understanding with the concept of what we call as Buddhism. So the punch marked coins, for the first time used in 6th century BC. Thereafter, you have Mauryan punch marked coins. And now that in turn leads to the first proper coinage in India. First proper coinage in India, which is nothing but Indo-Greek coins. Nothing but Indo-Greek coins. Wherein now you have both gold, silver, copper coins, which are portrait of king, year, name, Greek gods, all are reflected. And we know that the Indo-Greeks were also the first to issue gold coins in the Indian subcontinent, which is that when we look at the Indo-Greek coins, you will realize that the obverse has the picture of the king, reverse has Greek gods, and we've already seen these in ancient India. They would have inscriptions which will tell us what the year was, tells us the name of the ruler, and very simply, they were the ones who started to mint what is called double die struck coins. Double die struck coins. So the king's details are quite what we call as, in a way, very, very detailed in that regard. Silver, copper, nickel, lead, all were used. And you could have Khroshti script, Pali language, but never Sanskrit was used, which means the language of Brahmanism was not used. Now, in in Nitin Singhania, please note this point. In this chapter, this is a double die struck coin. This is a double die struck coin. There are two dies in which you pour the metal and then you bring it together, so it becomes double die struck. Now, in Nitin Singhania, please note, in numismatics chapter it is written Kushana is written Kanishka as a Indo-Greek king. Please note that Kanishka is not a Indo-Greek king but a Kushana king. If you have the Nitin Singhania with you, you can note it. Please, there's a major problematic aspect to that paragraph in which he talks about Kushana kings taking Greek customs forward. I don't know the page number, obviously, but very simply remember Kushana coins. Kanishka is a Kushana ruler. You can take your time to find it. If you have the page number, give it to me. I don't know the exact page number and I'm not going to find it. But the point of the matter is, I know that this is given incorrectly. In the numismatics chapter 24.3, Abhinav is telling us, on 24.3, the name of the king, 26.3, when it comes to this would be fourth edition, I think this will be third edition. So very simply, the chapter incorrectly states this. I hope you've been able to find it. Am I right in saying that it says Kanishka as a Indo-Greek king? Yes? Abhinav, Narendra, Anu, you have the chapter in front of you. Yes, sir. So please note it. Somehow he's copied it from someplace where it is incorrect. Now, when we talk about the Kushanas, see, the Kushana series, this is to show you the what we call as the Indo-Greek coins, and these are the early Kushana coins. The Kushana coins are known for 2 to 3 very important things. Firstly, first to circulate and issue gold coins. So they were the ones who issued also, circulate also. A largest number. But what Kushanas are known for, and that has been recently attested by a study, first instance of Hindu gods and Lakshmi on coins. Now, you tell me, who is shown in this image? Who is shown in this image? Very good. This is Lord Shiva. Who is this? Not Lord Vishnu. Remember, Kanishka had Buddhist connections also. Buddha series. Thereafter, again, reference to Lord Shiva because of Nandi. This is Lord Vishnu. The point is that when we talk about the Kushanas, they took it a step further and are known to be the most important when it came to Hindu plus Greek plus Buddhist symbols and gods. They used all of them. So if you look at it, it is a marvel. which shows a certain type of understanding. Don't go by these. These are the kings. These are the obverse is the king. Reverse is the god. Now, one very important information for you. First to issue gold coins, Indo-Greeks. First to issue and circulate in largest number, that is Kushanas. First to issue and circulate largest volume, Guptas. So if I have Gupta coin in my left hand and Kushana coin in right hand, which is going to be heavier, left or right? Yes, the left one, which is Gupta. Because though they issued less coins than the Kushanas, their coins were heavier. Their coins were heavier. Heavier, less coins. They had lighter, more coins. Now we come to the Satavahanas. They were known to have used mostly lead, and silver coins were very, very rare. And what they used to do was they used to mix silver and copper together to create what is called potin. Now, if you remember, Satavahanas are Brahmins, and they were land grant after land grant after land grant tradition. Now, tell me one thing. By looking at this coin, does it instill a sense of confidence when it comes to the economy of the Satavahanas? The point is, the numismatic history of Satavahanas contradicts the grandeur of the Satavahanas, which is projected in their texts. Now, tell me one thing. What is this symbol? So, though a Brahmanical dynasty, they have a stupa still, and their most common symbol is called the Ujjain symbol. It's called the Ujjain symbol. This is called the Ujjain symbol. Was very common in the Ujjain sector. You can see here, and you can see it here also. The Ujjain symbol, the Chaitya, Vihara, elephant, all were used, but the most standard was the Ujjain symbol, a cross with 4 circles at the end. Dialect is Prakrit, so they still don't use Sanskrit. So the Satavahanas give us a very contrasting picture. Satavahanas, what we can understand is that there's a decline in the quality of coins. That in turn means that the economy was facing certain issues. And what is more fishy is that when it comes to Gautamiputra Satkarni's coins, we don't find quite a lot of them, which is not true for Kanishka or Huvishka. A lot of coins are there, but not for the Satavahanas, which only tells us that with silver coins not being there, would it be in that regard safe to say that the economy was a little bit on shaky grounds, and their grandeur, which is projected in their texts, may be an exaggeration? Would be safe to say it? Yes. So now you're thinking like a historian. This is called corroboration. You corroborate the texts with the archaeological sources, and then see if it is giving you a correspondingly exact same picture or not. This is a very important point you need to understand. There needs to be correspondence between archaeological and literary sources. Satavahanas don't do that. Now, whatever may be the reason, there is a mismatch. And it then does also explain to us why land grants were becoming more and more common. They were the ones who introduced feudalistic tendencies in India. They were the ones who introduced the concept of land grants. And maybe their economy was not on that much what we call as sound grounds as we actually think about. Now, when we talk about the Sakas, the Sakas dominated for more than 3 to 400 years in that regard. We know that the Saka era date comes out of the coins of the Sakas itself. And their coins had the head of the king, also had the Chaitya and the Stupa symbol, and Prakrit was also again the standard language. You can see the Stupa symbol again. Can anybody tell me who is this? Can anybody tell me who is this? Who is this? I have told you the name. Who started the Saka era? Because in this inscription, Saka era date is given. Very good, Samishta and Samhita. Chastana. Rings a bell? Chastana. Kanishka Neha, it can't be. Kanishka is a Kushana king. Chastana. Have I referred to Chastana previously? Ancient India seems to be an eternity away, isn't? Okay. Now we come to the golden age of coinage and its representation. Gupta coins are the period of Hindu revivalism. Gold, silver, copper, but gold in a lot of amount. But after Chandragupta II Vikramaditya, silver coins became more common. This would indicate what? This would indicate what? Yes, very good. This is indicative of decline in what we call as overseas trade and the concept of Roman trade. And therefore, it is indicative in the economy. But why are Gupta coins so celebrated, so important? Because they have multiple representations, which is king standing or making oblations in front of altar, which is while he's standing next to a fire, playing veena, ashwamedh, riding horse, slaying a lion, rhinoceros with sword, sitting on a couch. Goddess Lakshmi is very beautifully represented, and Sanskrit comes back as an inscription on coins. So you can see this is Goddess Lakshmi series coins. You have Samudragupta. Thereafter, you again have Lakshmi series coins. Then you have king sitting on couch, king riding horse, king playing veena, ashwamedh, multiple representations in multiple coins itself. So they were represented not just in martial activities but with multiple different activities. And the gods Lakshmi, Durga, Ganga, Garuda, Kartike all were shown. So when we talk about Gupta coins, they are unparalleled and are a culmination of the development in coinage in India. They are known for their representation. They are known for their what we call as technique, for their quality, and more than that, how they represented gods. So in a way, this is a very important phase because it's like a culmination of that whole process in that regard. Now, in between, we have to discuss the Sangam polities, and the coins of the Pandya dynasty were square. Remember this point. I don't have access. I did not have access to the images of the Sangam kings, Sangam coins in that regard. And the elephant was also represented initially. Later, fish will become a very standard symbol. And the coins of the later Cholas, which is Raja Rajendra one, they used to have the legends of the Sri Rajendra Gangai Konda Chola and the fish and tiger emblem on them. So these are the basic keywords which you need to know. And some of you would be thinking what type of question can be asked before we go to medieval India. See, two type of questions can be asked from here. One could be mains question, which asks you about the evolution of coinage or Gupta coins importance in the larger story. Gupta coins question has already come. And then there can be prelims questions with the basic facts related to first coin, first gold coin, etc. Now, before I go to Delhi Sultanate, is this making sense? Everybody's with me, no issues till this point. Yes? Because again, this chapter is written in a descriptive way in Nitin Singhania. But we, by showing you these coins, I hope you are able to pick up on these peculiarities which are there. Because without looking at these coins, it's very hard to appreciate the craftsmanship also and understand its characteristics. So is everybody with me? You had your lunch. Have to be more vocal. Come on, tell me. Is it making sense or not? How to calculate the age of the coin? Either the year is indicated on the coin itself, or you can take out the metal and then do the what we call as thermoluminescence. Solving how many questions are enough for prelims or history section? I think table to remember all things. Don't have to know the table. Don't complicate it that much. Straight away, just 5, 2, 3, 5 standard points, pick up and write them down in paragraph form. That is enough. So, Prabhu, what do you mean to say that how many questions are enough for prelims for history section? See, every year 100 questions are coming. 25% of the paper will always be extremely hard. You have 75 to 80 questions in your hand. Now, out of the 75 to 80 questions, there will be 20 to 25 questions out of polity, 20 to 25 questions out of history, can go as 15 to 25, varies every year. 16 came last time. And this can also be 15. Then you will have standard 15 to 25 questions out of economics, so that we prepare every topic very well. Number of questions so that, see, the point is that if I go into the the concept of 15 to 20 questions out of history. Then 3 to 4 will come from ancient medieval. 5 to 8 and 5 to 8 come out of art and culture and modern India. For the past 2 years, 3 years, I'll say, modern India questions have been easy, rather very easy. Now the point is, out of these 15 to 20 questions, if you can get 70 to 80% correct, which is 9 to 12 questions correct, and if you can go up till 10 to 14 questions, your work is done. Nobody is asking you to do a thesis and get all questions correct. This 70 to 80% is the hit rate for all subjects. Every subject you will have, out of, for example, polity, economics, history, geography. These are the four fundamental topics. You will have at least 15, 15, 15, 15 out of them. If you can manage 9, 9, 9, 9, then half of your work is already done. Half of your work is already done. You've got 32 here. And you've got 36 here. So you're close to 40 number. You have come to 90. So very simply, now comes environment, science and technology, current affairs, and the other miscellaneous IR and all. If from this you can manage another 15 to 20 questions, then your work is already done. So very simply, what I want you to do is have a score more than 100. That is it. To solve that much questions in exam, how much solve for practice? Prabhu, there's no, it's not practice as much as possible. Some people can solve 1,000 questions before they do, some 2,000. See, what I want from you is between January to May. By January, your syllabus should be over. Prelims, at least once, this should be over. Prelims syllabus also should be over. If you can practice in a week 2 to 3 mocks, more than enough. That will bring you 2 to 300 questions every week. So that will bring a number till close to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 questions. But that doesn't guarantee you anything. It's not about, see, practicing question is not a quantitative thing. It's not a quantitative thing. It's a qualitative thing. Why? Quality matters. When you solve questions, you should be able to do 3 things. Firstly, overthinking should be in bay. Do not need to overthink. Should be able to use logic to get to the answer. Should be able to apply knowledge. And the most important, which is that you need to be able to get basic static questions correct. Which is that if you're messing up standard questions, if you're doing silly mistakes, then that is the problem. Answer this question. Answer this question. Prabhu. See, this is a total mind game. If you can train your mind to respond in the right way, it's about that. Solving questions. If you say, sir, I solve 5,000 questions and then it is guaranteed that I will get a rank, that is not nothing is guaranteed. In UPSC, nothing is guaranteed. Solve 100 questions, but you should be able to solve it in the right way. Facts should be correct first, right? No, that is not true. See, questions can be conceptual plus factual and can also be application of facts. UPSC is moving away from this and moving towards this more. Your concept should be first clear. You don't understand the parliament and you're learning how many seats are there. That's not the point. First, understand the concept. That are you able to place everything in history properly? Then you learn the facts. If you don't know the concepts, then the facts will make no sense at all altogether. Right? Okay. Okay. Can I talk about medieval? I would digress us, but I think purposeful discussion. Okay. So let's come to medieval India. Can anybody tell me what is the major change which will happen in medieval India? What is the major change which is going to happen in medieval India? Tell me. Major change in coins. Photos of God will not be there. God won't be there. A human form. It's not just about gods. Human form, animal form, plants will mostly not be there because it is un-Islamic to represent. But I will show you the swagger of one king that he didn't even care about that. The Delhi Sultanate were the first to issue what we call as gold, silver, copper coins, which were actually in a way very stable. But the most standard coins were Tanka and Jittal. We already know that. Tanka is silver, Jittal is copper. King's name and the title and the date according to the Hijri calendar is going to be there. Because adultery and image worship is not allowed, no images. And bilin is nothing but the mixture, lead plus copper. Now, if you look at the coins, this is the last medieval Lakshmi series coins, and ironically, it was Muhammad of Gori who issued it. But when we come to Iltutmish, his copper coins now show standard Kalima or Quranic verses plus name of ruler on coins with date. Alauddin Khilji removed the concept of adding the name of the religious head of Islam, which is Khalifa, and replaced it with self-praising titles, which is obvious. And Muhammad bin Tughlaq, as we already know, big flop, token currency. Now, looking at Razia and Balban, can anybody tell me who would be more politically powerful? Just looking at the coins. Balban. So the political instability of Razia is reflected in coins. Now you get it. Why do we actually study coins? And Balban's prosperity and stability is again reflected in coins. And you can see the refinement is also there in the gold and silver coins. Then come Alauddin Khilji's coins. It's just a continuation of Balban. Muhammad bin Tughlaq did issue gold, silver coins, but this is his famous token currency. Bronze coin having value of silver coin. We still don't know if it is a coin which he issued or the people counterfeited, but this is the coin which survives today. And the later period, these coins started to become rarer and rarer, which shows that the Sayyids and Lodhis actually did not actually issue any major coins. They just reused Delhi Sultanate coins. Now, Mughals will come. When they will become the kings, The Mughals had dinar, which is gold coin. They will have Sher Shah will be the first to issue what is called the rupiah, a silver coin, from where we take the word rupiah. Rupehla sunehra. The sunehra is silver, is a gold coin. Rupehla, the one who reflects less and has a lower roop than the gold, is called rupiah. Rupehla sunehra. So we have mohars and dinars for the word for gold coins. We have what we call as rupiah as silver coin, and we have dam for copper coins. So we know that the silver coin adopted by Sher Shah, later called became most famous, which is the rupaya. He had a Deen-e-Ilahi coin, or which is called the Ilahi series coin, which was a little bit bigger than a standard mohar. And while a standard mohar could be one mohar could be equal to one gold coin, could be able to 9 silver coins, the Ilahi coin was more, wherein one could be 10 rupees, 10 silver coins. And the Shahanshah was the largest gold coin which was ever issued by them. So they have one word Shahanshah, second mohar, third rupiah, fourth dam. Now this is the Akbar coins. And tell me, are they visibly better or worse than the Delhi Sultanate? It's both. In certain cases, in the initial period, we get these type of coins. Very, very, very stable period of his, we get these type of coins. But later they start to become worse because of the way Jahangir had created a little bit of chaos in his empire. Now, this is Jahangir's coin, and look at the swagger of this man. That it is not allowed to put human images on coins, but he wanted to put his image on coins. This is the Rajput sun symbol, and this is how we know that Rajputs had a very important role in Jahangir's period. He also had what are called sun sign coins, which is this is the coin for Cancer. And therefore, when we talk about Jahangir, the level and prosperity of the empire is also reflected in his coins. But the most beautiful coins come from Shah Jahan. If you have to burn cash, give it to Shah Jahan. Anybody can tell me what are these? So you can see how these coins reflect a cultural amalgamation also. But his coins actually represent beauty. It's like how Shah Jahan's Taj Mahal was the culmination of a lot of things. This is the culmination of the coins which were getting produced at this point of time. And Aurangzeb's coins were later distorted by the British quite a lot. And with this, your numismatic story is over. Now, just to give you a basic overview, punch marked, please pay attention. Then Indo-Greek, then Kushana coins, then Satvahana, then Saka, then Gupta. Here, this is the first coin, first proper coin, first gold circulated, Saka era, economic decline, and zenith of coinage. And for Delhi Sultanate, the words Tanka, Jittal, and Mohar, Shahanshah, Mohar, Shahanshah, Rupiah, and Dam. Can you remember what is written on the slide itself? Yes? Right? Salim is yes, Jahangir. Now, what I want to do is that I'll give you a 5-minute breather, 5 minutes only. I'll give you a bigger breather after this topic. 5-minute breather I'm giving you, heavy topic, because I want to discuss literature. Because if literature will be out of the way, thereafter you will very simply breathe easy throughout the day. This is the biggest topic when it comes to heaviness of facts. My role is to tell you basic things, but you have to learn it. I will market what you have to learn. But my biggest request is going to be, because this time also literature question came, but it was easy because it was standard literature. Don't paper chase when it comes to literature. Because 1 year questions came from Jainism, Buddhism. I have literature here, but there is a point to which you can actually learn. So if I have your permission, 5 minutes, I'll give you a very simple, straightforward break. If you want 10, I'll give you 10 here, but then there's no break till 5, which is basically physically not possible after literature. So I'll give you 5 minutes here and I'll give you 10 minutes later. Right? Okay. So let's come back at 3:15. Yeah, I give you 7 minutes. People at this time use these coins as medium of exchange. Yes, yes, Neha, yes. We come back at 3:15. 2 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and we start literature. But you have to promise me that you will not burst into flames or start to question your existence after I've done this section. That why did I do it? How did I do it? That why did I choose this topic? That. This is a heavy area, very unnecessarily heavy. Have to promise me that you are going to take it in the right stride, and thereafter we have very interesting subsections left. Deal? Okay. So I'll see you at 3:15. Okay, welcome back. Now let's talk about literature. See, literature you have already done as part of your ancient and medieval, which is that very simply, I have introduced to you when it came to Mauryan or Gupta period, their sources. You already know some Buddhist sources, and throughout the medieval period, we refer to certain texts. So now literature, what standard question they're giving is the literature and the author. Same exact question came this year also. Match the following question they're giving. If it is right pair, the concept of pair is right or not. That is the question which is coming. And there is a fine line where you can attempt a question and where you cannot attempt a question. And very simply, that is not going to be dictated by a preparation, but by how kind UPSC is to you that year. Because there are 1,000+ texts in our history itself. And I don't think there is anybody who can claim that I can learn all of them. And if you are doing that, then please don't waste your time. So what you can do is that you can learn the standard texts and then hope for the best. Because, for example, if I open Nitin Singhania's chapter, 40 pages of texts, not possible. He has a very, very extensive chapter on text on literature, and the number of texts which is actually given is a very huge number. So what I am going to do right now, very simply, is going to give you an overview of what you should know, and what are the basic standard texts which you should have an idea about. Thereafter, the 90% of questions should be done by it. But if still UPSC finds a way to ask you something which is too difficult, then you can't help it actually. So Shanawaz joined just right now, just 1 minute before. Join when we'll discuss UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Then I will tell you what to do with Hoysaleshwara temples. Don't worry. So just joined at 3. So we'll discuss. Don't worry. But you have to wait for that. Are you getting my point with regards to what is the orientation you need to have? Literature is something which a lot of students approach me about. And I'm trying to tell you a very straightforward thing, which is that there is a point at which you can't do anything but either not take a negative in that question or try to find a way to answer that question. You cannot learn each and every text. If we all agree to it and understand it, can we now move and understand these texts in that regard? I'll tell you which ones to learn for sure. Yes? Okay. I know. Shahnawaz, I know that you are previous batch student. So don't worry. We have to discuss UNESCO. For that, most probably you have to wait another hour or so. We are not there right now. Now, when we talk about the textual tradition in ancient India, did you give break after numismatics? Did I give a break after numismatics? Abhinav is asking. Where were you, Abhinav? We didn't give a break. Have taught very, very important thing in in that period? $1 million question. For sure question. No, Abhinav, we took a break. I've just started, so pay attention. Just started, pay attention. Okay. So, ancient India, there are two types of texts. Shruti, Smriti. Shruti, Smriti. And Shruti Smriti comes at a very good time because it allows me to tell you what is this concept. See, Shruti, Smriti. Any Shruti and Smriti in class? Okay. So, now, in the Indian tradition, the Vedic corpus is the only Shruti tradition. All other texts are Smriti. Now, a very simple way of understanding it is, these texts are heard but not to be remembered. These texts are passed from one generation to other by remembering. Only Brahmins need to remember. See, understand this point. In ancient India, there are texts. There are multiple type of texts. For example, Puranas, you have the Vedic corpus, you have the Ramayana, the Mahabharata. Then you have 108 Puranas, very, very big corpus of texts. Now, we divide them into two types, Shruti and Smriti. What is the English of Smriti? What is the English of Smriti? Memory. Now, understand this point. The Vedas are something which you can hear, but as a non-Brahmin, you don't have to remember. The exclusive task of remembering the Shruti text is with the Brahmins, and Smriti is that you have to hear it also, you have to remember it also. So think of it like how I teach in class, which is that I tell you certain facts which you have to just listen to for the purpose of the examination. And there are certain facts which you have to listen but also remember. It is my task to remember those facts, but it is not your task to remember those facts. They are Shruti tradition. The facts which you have to remember, I also have to remember, is Smriti. So Shruti is that what has been heard and is canonical. Canonical means that it is something which cannot change. It is eternal, unquestionable truth, and it's the whole Vedic corpus together. On the other hand, Smriti is what is remembered and can change over time. So everything which came after the Vedas are called Smriti. Now, what you do with this information is, in the examination, if they ask you which of the following texts are Shruti, there are only 8 texts which together are Shruti, which is the 4 Vedas plus Aranyaka, Upanishad, and Samhitas. So something to be heard but not remembered by a layperson, something to be heard but also being remembered. This cannot change. This can change. Making sense? Is this making sense? Is this making sense? Yes or no? Have to be more clear. Have to be more vocal. Come on. Yes. Okay. Now, let's talk about the Vedic corpus. Let's talk about the Vedic corpus. Now, when I talk about the only Shruti tradition in India, which is the Vedas, there are four main books. Now, please pay attention. There are four main books. Don't have to learn how many shloks are there. That's a very PCS thing. UPSC doesn't care. There are four main books. Corpus means a family of books is called corpus. So you have Rig Veda, Sam Veda, Yajur Veda, and Atharva Veda. Now, what do each of these have? See, Rig Veda are the hymns or shloks. They're the shloks. The original hymns, the mantras as we call them, these are the mantras. Samveda is tells how to read the mantras in a certain rhythm. This is called the musical book because it tells you how to sing the mantra. How many times it has to be sung, in what tone it has to be sung. Yajurved is tells which shlok to read for a specific sacrifice. And Atharvaved initially was not considered part of the Vedas, but is now, is the last book and has popular belief, spells, etc. This is popular in imagination. Now, in a way, that ways, these three are connected to each other. Now, prima facie, tell me which Veda are you going to first pick up? If I had to do a certain sacrifice, which Veda should I pick up first? Very good. Yajur. See, Yajur Ved is basically like a menu. Okay, that I want to do Soma sacrifice. I want to do sun sacrifice. So Yajur tells you in what chapter of the Rig Veda. So I will read this first. Then I will go to the Rig Veda. I will identify the lyrics. And then once I have identified the lyrics, then I will start to sing the song with the lyrics. So there's a way to read the Vedas. Pick up Yajur, get to know what you have to do. Then go to Rig Veda, get the mantras, and then read the Samved to know how to read that mantra. Atharva that ways is different or is not connected to the first three. So any issue in understanding Rig Veda, Samved, Yajurved, Atharvaved? No? Now, There are who wrote the Vedas. This answer I've already given to you. Who wrote the Vedas? Can anybody answer, Himanshu? Who wrote the Vedas? Atharvaved is nothing but later interpretation of, or rather, it's the popular belief of the Vedas. People started to add their popular imagination, popular beliefs, and got it. Not Ved Vyas. Come on, Aryans. Aryans are the ones who wrote the Vedas. It says in the first chapter of the Rig Veda itself, we the Aryas are the ones who wrote the Vedas. So it is the Brahmins, but the Brahmins come from the Aryan linguistic group. So it is nothing to do with later interpretations. It is the Aryans who wrote it. Specific person, there is no one. You can't write 1028 shloks. You can write, one person can write. Not possible. It's not one specific. It's the community of Aryans and their Brahmins. Okay. First four basic things clear. Rig, Sam, Yajur, Atharv. Now, attached to these texts, Rig, Sam, Yajur, Atharv. These have two types of text under them. Firstly, Brahmin is not a caste, it's a Varna. Brahmin caste were not there at that time. How they became Brahmins? Prabhu, now you're asking me a fundamental question out of Vedic society, later Vedic society. Atharvaved is nothing but popular belief. I read it out to you. See, collection of hymns, recitals during rituals, dividing to 10 mandalas, which are chapters. Thereafter, you have Yajur sacrificial prayers, different rituals, and how you have to sing. This is Yajur. Yajur is book of sacrificial prayers, prescribes ritual for sacrifices. It is also called the book of the Advarus. Advarus are the Brahmins who actually made this catalog. On the other hand, Samved is the rhythmic compilation of these hymns, and the hymns of the Soma sacrifice are always sung by the Udgatris. These are a specific type of Brahmins. Thereafter, Atharvaved is the popular belief, superstition, magical spells, initially not considered part of the Vedas, later it is considered. And the Mundaka Upanishad is the part of the Atharvaveda. Why is the Mundaka Upanishad so important for us? Why is Mundaka Upanishad so important for us? Yes, Satyameva Jayate comes from this chapter of Atharvaveda. Why Vedas considered very high knowledge? Because they were the foundational text for Vedic Brahmanism. That is why so very, very important. Okay. Everybody is with me, no issues. Don't have to get caught up in the Vedas itself. You just understand the terminologies. I'm coming to Upanishads, what the Upanishads mean. Till this point, Rig, Sam, Yajur, Atharv, you understand the purpose of each. Okay. Now attached to the Rig, Sam, Yajur and also the Atharv are two types of books. One is called Samhita and the other one is called the concept of Brahmanas. These are texts, not Brahmans. These are texts. Now, basically, it is very, very hard to categorize or to understand the number, the sheer volume of shloks are so much that two types of text emerged. The Samhitas, which basically contain mantras and benedictions without meaning, which is that The Rig Veda is then further subdivided into smaller samhitas, and the Brahmanas explain the reason why they are in that samhita. So they have scientific knowledge in them, astronomy, geometry, architecture, and they also have philosophical material. But very simply, samhita is further categorization of Rigvedic shloks. No, not even Rigvedic shloks. Of the hymns of the Vedas, and this gives you the logic of categorization of samhitas. Why we have put them under that category. So look at them and understand them as guidebooks. Basically, they guide you on if you want to find a specific thing. So in Nitin Singhania, you have this box that what is the Brahmanas related to Rig Veda, what are the Brahmanas related to Sam Veda, Yajur, and other. I would say do not bother, do not learn, just watch it, or rather see it once. Not worth it to remember each one of them. But try to understand this point that every Brahman, every text, basically then how many total number of Samhita and Brahmanas could vary. But then you could have one Samhita, one Brahmana for Rig Veda, one Samhita, one Brahmana for Sam, one Samhita, Brahmana for Yajur, one Samhita and Brahmana for Athar. There are multiple Samhitas though. The simple point is it allows for further what we call as cataloging. So these two are complementary to each other. Why did I put a certain shlok in one standard Samhita of the Rig Veda? Because that logic is given in the Brahmana. So these are basically catalogs which are created of the what we call as shloks, which were originally there in these texts. Is this making sense? That this is the technical part. That Vedas are four, but they have subsidiary books attached to it. These are called the subsidiary books. These subsidiary books, their basic concept is to help you understand the Rig Veda or the Vedas generally easier. You're getting my point? What is the concept of Samhita and Brahmana? Is this making sense? If it isn't, then you tell me. Samhita is understanding what is Samhita. Very good. Can we get Vedas in book form? Meaning, you want to read the Vedas. See, try to understand. How do I? It is available. It is available. You need to know Sanskrit for it. Obviously, not get a translation of that. Let me find one space. 1 second. How do I explain it? And I'm looking for a blank slide. How long does it take to finish all Vedas? Abhinav, how much time will it take to you for finishing UPSC syllabus? You are asking me how do I change the way of see. I'll give you a simple example. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shloks. 8 shloks are there, and these two are related to how to make Havan Kund. These two are the ritual mantras. These two have to be read first. These two we have to read last. So what will happen is that in a Brahmana, it will be documented that 7, 8 have been clubbed together, 5, 6 have been clubbed together, 3, 4 have been clubbed together, and 1 and 2 have been clubbed together. and then there will be a samhita, or rather 4 samhitas will be created, where 1, 7 and 8 will be put in, that what are the last sloks which you read. Then 3, 4 will be added, which is the how to make Havan Kunds. And there are, Samhita is not a script, it's a book. It's not difficult. Then 1 and 2, and then 5 and 6. Very simply, they are sub-categorizing. This could be, for example, the Rig Veda. So Rig Veda, there is no, it's just shlok after shlok after shlok. So Brahmana tells you why. Try to understand this point. Again, not difficult. You are getting caught up in the wrong thing though. There is shlok after shlok after shlok. I'll give you a more better example. Simple. Very simple example. You have the Constitution of India. You understand Constitution of India? Now, in Constitution of India, there are, for example, 454 articles. For example, hypothetical situation. Now, if every article is given one after the other, will it make sense to you? One after the other, all articles are given. 454. 1 to 1, 454. It will not make sense to have such a constitution which starts with an article, ends with an article. So what Brahmanas are basically parts, that I am dividing this much into one part, this much into second part, this much into third part, this much into fourth part, this much into fifth part. So it is telling me why have I categorized them into this. The part itself is the Samhita. They are all part of the Vedic corpus. They are all part of the constitution. But Brahmana tells me that the first to fifth, in a way, index of the constitution tells me that Article 1 to 4 is related to the territory of India. And then Article 1 to 4 is put in one part, that is one Samhita. So you take the original, put in the Brahman, why did you subcategorize it? And what you produce is a Samhita. You don't have to do this. But are you getting the basic point? It can't be more easier. You have all constitutional articles. Why they are in a certain part is given in the Brahman. And the part itself is the Samhita. Is this clear? Come on. Everybody has to say yes or no. There is no way other than this to actually explain it in a more simple way. So, Samhita is the mantra and benedictions without meaning and sound, and Brahmanas explain the symbolism and meaning. Why a Samhita is there in that context. Now, when these subsidiary books were done, now people went into sannyasi mode. That they went for sannyas, they went into the forest, and in the forest they started to gain certain knowledge. And when in the forest they started to gain certain knowledge, the people who came back, the knowledge gained by people who went to meditate in isolation or forests, those are called aranyakas. They're called the aranyakas. Thereafter, the last text, subsidiary text, is called the Vedas. Is not called the Vedas, but the Vedang or Vedant or the Vedant. Or Upanishads. And Upanishads are nothing but philosophical interpretation of the Vedas. So basically, you have Aranyakas called the forest books, which is philosophical elements, mysticism, meditation, moral values, built between the Brahmanas and Upanishads. Upanishads are philosophical speculation based on spirituality. Teacher-pupil format called Vedant because they're the end of the Vedas itself. So very simply, there are the original books, Shruti Smriti, then we divide it into the Vedas itself. The Vedas are the 4 books which are the main books. Then they are further subdivided into these what we call as subsidiary books. Subsidiary books is Samhita Brahmana, Aranyaka and Upanishads are subsidiary books which are quite interesting. Aranyakas are the knowledge gained by people as sannyasis, and Upanishads are the philosophical interpretation because shlok after shlok after shlok makes no sense. So think of D.D. Basu or Lakshmikant as Upanishads. They are the interpretation of the articles of the constitution, if you want to see it in that way. Yes? Yes? Get my point? In the examination, when I say Vedic corpus or they say Vedic corpus or say Shruti tradition, all of these together are considered one tradition, which is the Shruti tradition. Done? Okay. Now come the Buddhist texts. Now we already know that Buddhist texts have been divided into what are called the Tipitakas. Tipitakas, there are 3. Sutta, Vinay, Abhidhamma. This is what Buddha said. This is a rule book for monks, and this is philosophical tradition and meaning of sutta. Meaning, what does sutta actually mean? Written in different languages, you can find a Pali, Prakrit, even Tibetan Tipitaka. Canonical texts are texts which are the rule books. Tipitakas, Pali, Chinese, Tibetan, even Prakrit has been found. The Pali Tipitaka is the oldest, which is linked to the Theravada. So the first language in which it was actually written was Pali. Thereafter, the Sutta, Vinay, Abhidhamma are important because in a way they give you the 3 most important rules of Buddhism. What did Buddha say? The rule book, and in that regard. Now, we know that Sutta Pitaka contains the Buddha's discourse. We know Vinay Pitaka contains monks and nuns' basic concept itself. But now there are certain words which you need to know. For example, Patimokha. Patimokha is the list of things which you cannot do in a monastery. Things not to do. Then Abhidhamma we already know is nothing but systematization and summaries and philosophical understanding. Now, Jatakas are standard stories of Buddha. But where do we find the Jatakas? Where do we find the Jatakas? So these are the previous births of Buddha, 15 books which are in the Kundaka Nikaya, and the Kundaka Nikaya, which is basically a text which is part of the Tipitaka itself. So in the Kundaka Nikaya, Nikaya means chapter, you will find the Jataka. But in the Kundaka Nikaya, you also have what are called the Dhammapada Theragatha, Therigatha. Theragatha, Therigatha has come in multiple contexts. When we talk about Dhammapada, it is the verses on ethics. Dhammapada. But what is more interesting is Therigatha, Theragata. Therigatha and Theragatha are basically monks telling their experience. And Therigatha are considered very important. It is the oldest surviving text written by women. So you have Abhidhamma, Vinaya, Dhammapada, Kundaka Nikaya, Jataka, and Therigatha, Theragata. Therigatha, Theragata are Meri Gatha. So very simply, the stories of the monks as they renunciate and become part of the Buddhist tradition altogether. Now, before I go to these ones, please understand Abhidhamma, Vinay, Sutta, Jatakas, Kundaka, Nikaya, Therigatha, Theragatha. You have to remember these for sure. Together they are called the Tipitakas. You can do this much? You can do this much? Yes? Patimokkha, the books which you don't need to, what things which you don't need to do in the monastery. That is optional. This is more important. There are things which you have to remember. Now, Deepavamsa, we have discussed. Mahavamsa, we've discussed. Can anybody tell me where we have discussed Deepavamsa and Mahavamsa? Anybody? Anyone? Yes. When we did the Maurya chapter, Ashokan, very good. Sri Lankan sources, very good. Samita, very good. These are the Sri Lankan sources. But can anybody tell me in which chapter we've done this? Milindapana? Milindapana? Indo-Greeks. Menander, Nagsena. This came in the examination. 2023, this came in the examination. I'll show you the question. 1 second. I've attached these questions also this time. 1 second. See. Is this correctly matched? Milindapana? No. It should be Nagasena, not Nagarjuna. Not Nagarjuna. One second. Yes. See. Milindapana is Nagsena, not Nagarjuna. But see, what I'm trying to argue is these are texts which you already know. Just have to revise. They're not asking anything more than match the following. They're not asking anything more than match the following. So just have to pay a little bit of attention. That's it. Now, the ones which you are totally new to you is, for example, see, Mahavatsu, I don't really care. This Lalita Vistara Sutra is an important Mahayanic text because it tells you what Buddha said in the first sermon. So you have to learn this. Then Udana is the oldest Theravada Buddhist text. It's a story of the blind men and the elephant. Then Bodhivamsa, not important to us. Then Udana Varga, compilation of what Buddha said to his disciples, but it is important because it is in Sanskrit. So, Mahavibhasha Shastra, not important. Abhidharmavokha, this is important. Vasubandhu, Sanskrit text, it is part, it's a discussion on Abhidhamma Sutta itself. And then your Vishnumaga, again not important. See, the ones which are important were Abhidhamma Vinay Sutta, Jataka, Kundaka Nikaya, Theragata Terigata. Then I add to it Deepa Vamsa, Mahavamsa, Milindapanaha, and thereafter the Lalita Vasutra, Lalita Vistara Sutra, Udana. Again, can you remember the ones which are written here? I told you it is going to be a little bit heavy, and unfortunately, I can't do anything about it. So, the ones which I'm marking are important generally. So, if you are clear with regards to the Buddhist and Vedic texts, then we'll talk about the Jain texts. Can we do that? Again, I'll do the same, mark the important ones. It is heavy, can't help it. Can't help it. That is why I'm doing it before the last break, because I don't think so by 5:30, between 5:30 8, you will be alive with this. It's not tough. See, don't call it tough. It's heavy. Toughness is when it would have been, for example, the full form of DNA, RNA, or DNA is tough. mRNA understanding is tough. How ISRO sends a rocket to the moon is tough. This is not tough. This is heavy. What do you need to actually conquer this? You tell me. How do you conquer this section? There are two things. First, don't ever do it in the beginning, because then you will already starting with dum tod doge. You will basically give up in the first sitting itself. But what you actually need is revision. If you learn each one day, till the examination, I don't think so you will find it very difficult. As it is a maximum 10 to 15, 30 names. That's it. Learn each one day. Nobody is asking you. Remember, history is like a pizza. Don't have to. Do you eat, when the pizza comes, do you just fold the pizza and then shove it down your throat? Do you just fold the pizza and shove it down your throat? No. You slice it up. You slice it and then eat it. Then you can eat a pizza. It's about division, slicing of information. If you can do that in the right way, everybody has a capacity. Somebody can have small slices, somebody can have big slices, but only that way you will. And it's not just true for history, it's true for UPSC syllabus itself. If you will ever look at the UPSC syllabus, it will seem vast. Divide it into smaller parts and do it in a systematic way, and with discipline. No one can stop you from becoming an IAS officer. That is the point. In this chapter, can I follow only additional PPT? Yes, sure, why not? Okay. Can I talk about Jains? Because Jains, what they did is that for UPSC aspirants, they created a big problem, which is that their texts sound like Hinduistic texts. So the Jain texts, sacred books of the Jains, is called the Siddhanta or Agama. Now this is the problem. As soon as you hear the word Siddhant, the first thing which will come to you is not very simply Jain. It will come as Hinduism to you. Thereafter, or for example, Buddhism. Language of earliest text was was Prakrit, which later became what we call as Ardhmagdi. Pali was taken by Buddhism. Prakrit was mostly used by Jainism. They are divided into Digambar, Shwetambar, I really don't want you to learn this. What are the Angas, the Upangas, the Cheya, the Mula Sutas? Ignore, because I will faint just telling you these. What I want to do is concentrate on the names. Now, the Jain Purans, the problem is that they call their canonical texts Puranas. There are Puranas in Hinduism also, in Hinduistic texts, but they have very specific Purans. So if you see the word Adi Puran, first remember Adi Puran, as you see, it is not that's not a Hinduistic text. It's a Jain text. Talks about Adinath, who's the first Tirthankar. Then you have, for example, this one came in the examination 2022. The Trisha Tintalakshana Mahapurana. Mahapurana. This is the one. This talks about Jinasena and Gundabadra and the story of kings and saints and heroes. This is why a lot of students got confused in the examination, because the name of this text looks more towards like Hinduistic, and they just asked which of the following are Jain texts. And Adi Puran was also written, and this Mahapuran was also written. And therein they actually played a game. This is where UPSC plays a game with you. That's the only point. Thereafter, done. Two names to remember here along with Siddhanta. Siddhanta. Along with Siddhanta. Acceptable? 3 names here, 5, 6 names here, and Vedas you already know. Acceptable? Not asking you to do anything more or less, because Nitin Singhania chapter is not possible to learn. Every text he has written the name, that is not possible. Can I talk and can I just refresh your memory with regards to Mauryan? See, if you remember, Mauryas, we did Arthashastra, Kautilya, Madvisa, Mudrakshara, Harshchaita, Bana. This is, we already done this. Further, Ras Tarangri, Kanhal, remember. See, this is the Puranas of Hinduism. Jataks we already know is Buddhism, and Pratishta Pravan we know is the text which is related to a Jain point talking about Chandragupta Maurya doing Salikhana. Then we discussed their foreign sources also. If you remember Megasthenes, then Esjap, Strabo, Justin, Arayan, and Pliny. Esjap. Then Fahian, Hyunsang, I told you FHI. Fahian, Hyunsang, Itzing. That is the basic concept. Thereafter, Mahavamsa, Deepavamsa, see, mentioned here. You have to remember Divyadana, which is a Tibetan source on Ashoka. Thereafter, Gupta text, if you remember, again, standard thing, Kalidas we discussed, all in ancient. Abhigyan Shakuntalam, Malvika Agnimitram already came through. Vikrama Shubhyam, this is the one which I expect in the examination now, because it is Vikramaditya and Urvashi, but the name comes through. Then Kumar Sambhavam is again very, very standard, because Kumara Swami is related. Meghdut, Rituvamsa, Raghuvamsa. We have all, have I discussed this with you? Yes or no? This is just the exact same slide I taught you in ancient and medieval. You just have to go through them. I've brought them here so that you can revise together. That is what I've tried to do. You can revise them together. Now, Vishnu Sharma, Panchtantra we know, Amar Simha, we know Amar Kosha, we know Vararuchi, we know Dhanvantri. We also know Aryabhatta, and we'll discuss Aryabhatta also by the end of the class. So medieval, the ancient hardest part is Buddhism, and Jain and Hinduism is manageable. Then the texts which are related to the people which are in and around and close to the whole structure itself, that you can learn from ancient and medieval, which I expect from you. Now, unfortunately, we come to the medieval part. Everybody's alive till this point. Everybody's alive. Please raise your hand who are alive. Just need another 5 to 10 minutes and this torture is over. Alive. Okay. Now, when we talk about alive, to kill you, you have medieval India. Basically, medieval India, there is literally multiple texts. Multiple texts. Hinduism, we've already done. That is Vedas, Puranas. Now, very simply, I can't say how to see. The point is, Delhi Sultanate beat Mughal India. Multiple actors are there. Multiple writers are there. Multiple texts are there. What I can point out to you is three things. A person called Al-Biruni, he is considered a very important writer of medieval India, other than whatever be the whole case. He is a very important writer of medieval India. And because they tend to ask about Persian sources, because he's a Persian writer, he came with Mahmud of Ghazni. Now the point is, he is the single-handed source. He is the single-handed source for the period between 900 to 1100. He had a book called Kitab ul Hind, and Kitab ul Hind is considered a very important source because during this period there is too much fragmentation in North India, and that meant texts were not very representative of that period. But Al-Biruni, when it came with Ghazni all the 17 times, he was very well versed with the psychology, Persian language. He was very good with the understanding of India. He has a very good subsection on religion, on culture, on mathematics, on geometry, on the temples in India, their architecture. He is considered a very invaluable source on medieval India, early medieval India, because of his proximity to Ghazni, and thereafter, because he came multiple times, stayed for certain period, he is considered very important. And this text, in a way, is considered a pioneering text in this sector. He is an important writer. We will read about him more in Foreign Travelers, but he is there. He is there. Thereafter, when we talk about Delhi Sultanate, there's a person called Barni. His name, Ziauddin Barni. Now remember, Al-Biruni and Barni are different. Now, Barni has a very interesting history, and he is also considered a very important source of Delhi Sultanate history because Barni was very close to Muhammad bin Tughlaq. But when Firoz Shah Tughlaq came, he hated Barni. So he put Firoz Shah Tughlaq put Barni into the jail. And that is why he wrote a text to appease Firoz Shah Tughlaq, which is called Tarikh-e-Firoz Shahi. He was put into jail because when the court, this happens, when you have a minister, the government changes, minister is gone. Same way, Muhammad bin Tughlaq had Ziauddin Barni very close. Firoz Shah Tughlaq did not like that, so he put him in jail. And who is going to ask Firoz Shah Tughlaq, why did you put him in jail? But the basic point is, Barni, in order to appease Firoz Shah Tughlaq, wrote Tarikh-e-Firoz Shahi. And that is why that text is also very rich of the history of Delhi Sultanate. And when we talk about Mughal India, you cannot ignore one man, which is Abul Fazl and his Akbarnama, or what we call Akbarnama. And Akbarnama has what we call as the concept of Aine Akbari. There are 3 volumes Second volume is called Aine Akbari. Aine Akbari is considered the most important text for Mughal administration. We know so much about Mughal administration because of the fact that, very simply, because of the fact that the Aine Akbari gave a lot of information about it. The Aine Akbari gave a lot of information about it. So there is one man who hated Abul Fazl, and his name is Badauni. Badauni, see, Abul Fazl and his brother Faizi were very close to Akbar, got very good mansabs also. While Abul Fazl got 1500 mansab, Badauni and Faizi had 1000 mansab. Badauni was given 500, and that is why he hated Akbar. So what Badauni did was that in order to, in a way, it's a very interesting thing. He also wrote Akbarnama. It's called Akbarnama. But it is the critical history of Akbar. If Abul Fazl says Akbar is the best, he went to the left. He will say Akbar is the worst, he went to the right. So Badauni and Abul Fazl's version are very, very important in the larger context because they give us a very important comparative perspective, which is also very important when it comes to texts. So these names you cannot ignore. Other than that, I would like to torture you for the next 5 minutes by marking the names which you need to remember. So Persian text, the Al-Biruni's Kitabul Him is an encyclopedic account which talks about Indian culture, philosophy, scientific knowledge, astronomy, mathematics, caste system, everything is written. He is considered a very important person for the early medieval period. Then comes the books which sound the same. For example, Minasus Siraj, he wrote Tabaqat-e Nasiri, which is the story of the Delhi Sultanate from Nasiruddin Muhammad to to the story of Bengal's formation. Not important to you, but Ziauddin Barni, Tariq-e-Firoshahi, very important, wrote the history from Balban to Tughlaqs. Then he also wrote another text which is called Fatwa-e-Jahandari, which is what is the political ideas of Muslim rule. Siraj is a name. There's no meaning for that. Then you have the most celebrated, we saw the music which he introduced, which is Amir Khusro, who's considered the parrot of India. He wrote the story of what happened to Kekubad, what Jalaluddin Khilji did, what Mubarak Khilji did, and how Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq came through. We know about the conflict between Aulia and Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq because of Amir Khusro. His texts are important, have to learn them. Tughlaqnama, the easiest, Nufus Shipir, Ashika, Mitalu Futut, and Kiran ul Sadin are the very standard texts which you have to know about Amir Khusro. Can't ignore them. You will find them sprinkled somewhere for sure. Thereafter, Firoz Shah Tughlaq wrote his Futut-e-Firoshahi autobiography. Ziauddin Barni and Shams-e-Siraj Afif. The interesting thing is, why am I writing their names? Because they wrote the same text, or they wrote different texts with the same name, Tariq-e-Firoshahi. So remember that Barni has a copy, or his book has a copy name, which is by Afif. Then Ibn Battuta will discuss in Foreign Travelers the most unfortunate or infortunate or the most unlucky foreign traveler ever. Isami of no purpose to you. Then comes Mughal India. Babar wrote his own autobiography, Tuzuk-e-Babari. But this is important for you. The sister of Humayun wrote Humayun-Nama, the biography of Humayun. Then Baizat, if you remember, made the what we call as a family tree of as asked by Babar, but no important to us, Muntakab Tawarik. Now comes Badauni's Akbarnama and Abul Fazl's Akbarnama. First volume tells you the story of Timur to Humayun, second Akbar's reign, and third volume is Aine Akbari, which gives us the story of administration. Then you have Mullah Daud and Nizamuddin Ahmad, not important to us. Then comes two texts again having the same name. Abdul Hamid Lahori and Muhammad Waris wrote the story of Shah Jahan's reign, Padshah Nama. This is the only thing which you need to know. Thereafter, again two texts having the same name. Shah Jahan Nama written by Inayat Khan and Sahil. What you do is that you just write them down together so that you know that either of them is going to be correct, because UPSC will play with this in that sense. Last but not the least, and I give you a break after this, is Ishwar Das, who wrote a Hindu, who wrote the story of Aurangzeb. Other than that, when you've learned these names, you can come back and learn the other names. Totally your call. Can I give you a break? And when we come back, we do foreign travelers. These are the three big topics. They are done. I'm extremely sorry for this. Can't help it. And I feel your pain. I have no other way of doing it. That's the basic point. I have no other way of it. Two Akbarnamas are there, Badauni and Abul Fazl. Right? There is no other way to do it. That is why I did it in the first 5 to 6 hours. Now the heavier topics are done. Smaller, very enjoyable, simple, straightforward topics are. Then we'll do mains questions and previous year questions. Done. Can I give you a break here? Well, Shanawaz, it's all about repetition. I repeat every batch, every year. I've been doing this for 10 to 15 years, so that is why I remember it. But you can also be equally good in remembering these things if you do it disciplined way. That's it. Okay, so let's come back at what, 4:30. No issues. You've been very kind to me, so I'm giving you 12 minutes. We'll come back at 4:30, and then we'll take the story forward. Foreign travelers, half an hour, more than enough. Then we go for a break at 5. Right? Zinda hai. We are alive. Say something. Yes. Okay, very good. Great. So I'll see you at 4:30. Okay, welcome back. All refreshed. 30-minute burst. Okay. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. These are smaller topics which we have to cover. Pottery already done. Okay. Everyone's back. Come on, can we start? Foreign travelers. Now, the foreign travelers chapter I've already asked you to read out of Nitin Singhania. But just to have a conversation with you with regards to the foreign travelers, what do you have to remember, what do you generally need to know is something I want to discuss with you generally. But remember, foreign travelers chapter is very, very important. Now, when we talk about, for example, the first major traveler to come to India, it is Megasthenes. Megasthenes, very simply, showed a certain bond between the Seleucid Empire and Chandragupta Maurya, as it is Seleucus Nicetas one's daughter Helena was married to Chandragupta Maurya. So he is like the one who opens the floodgates from the northwestern sector for people to come through. We have Damicus, who's sent by the successor of Seleucus Nicator I, who goes to Bindusara's court. But because of the Buddhist connection, there are three Chinese which somehow wander into India. Fahian, Huensang, and Itsing. Fahian came during Chandragupta II Vikramaditya's period, and the first Chinese to ever travel to India via the Silk Route and come into India, wrote the record of Buddhist kingdoms, and was welcomed very well in the empire itself. Then comes Huensang, which is, as we know, got robbed under Harshvardhan's kingdom, and Siyuki is his book. And Itsing came when there were multiple dynasties and traveled to different parts of India. And he was the one who studied in Nalanda for 10 years, which is a very big thing. So Nalanda, Vikramshila, and when we'll talk about it, Udantapuri and these other Buddhist centers attracted a lot of people. So once the Greek and the Chinese were over, with the coming up of the Delhi Sultanate or the changeover at that point of time, we'll have Al-Masudi, who referred to in his Mujur-ul-Jehab. The book refers to the Pratiharas and even the Palas. But as I said, the most celebrated, very, very, very important is Al-Biruni. Beruni, same thing. Came with Ghazni, wrote a big book called Kitabul Hind, but there's a smaller subsection of it is called Tahik-e-Hind. And why is Al-Biruni important? Because Al-Biruni, generally when he came to India, he talked about religion, geography, history, geology, science, mathematics. It's a voluminous account of a period where we have nothing. And more than that, Al-Biruni had an understanding of both Indian languages and Central Asian languages, along with the Greek languages. So he was a very well-read man that way. So he translated a lot of Sanskrit works such as Patanjali's grammar into Arabic. And on the other hand, for the Brahmin friends who he used to interact in India, he then translated Greek texts such as the Eleuside into Sanskrit. So basically, Al-Biruni and El Biruni, same, it's about how you write it. The simple point is that he is a very important Persian traveler who had multiple, what we call as linguistic prowess, or had multiple languages under his belt, and therefore he could understand these two worlds in that regard. This is unparalleled that way, something which we did not see. Baruni is different. Al Biruni, Baruni, be it Biruni, Beruni, or Baruni, same but same person, same person. So understand, once in UPSC there was a question which said, discuss the importance of Persian texts and travelers in India. They were basically referring to this person. That Al-Baruni, how important was he to the history of India when it came to a period where there is cultural flux but fragmentation with no reliable source for anything. Thereafter, the Vijayanagara, because it had a very flourishing trade with the Central Asian sector, saw again a flurry of travelers. So we have Abdul Razak, who's coming from again Persia. So when that question came, they were expecting you to write about him and him, two different periods, two different dynasties, one, the difference between 200 years. He talks about the Vijayanagara city. Vijayanagara, we know, was very, very prosperous. And when a traveler writes the history of that period, it is equally important. It is equally important. So he wrote about multiple chariots, harbors. He increased the number, but that shows that there was a very substantial number. Then comes the most, what we call as unfortunate, unlucky, when it comes to Ibn Battuta. See, Ibn Battuta is a Moroccan traveler. He comes from East Africa. And the story of Ibn Battuta has now become part of songs also, because Ibn Battuta traveled the world. He traveled the whole African sector, went to even Central Asia. Then he came to India. So while he was going via Indus, so somebody told him that there's a very learned king, but they did not tell him that he was also mad, that there's a person called Muhammad bin Tughlaq who's sitting in Delhi. Now, Muhammad bin Tughlaq initially was very impressed, very, very impressed by Ibn Battuta. He was so fascinated that he made him the Qazi of Delhi also. But then, one random day, Muhammad bin Tughlaq woke up and didn't like the face of Ibn Battuta. And within the last 5 to 6 years of his life and the period of Ibn Battuta, he was put into jail. So, he is a traveler adventurer, comes during the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. But as I said, initially he has a very good time. Had heard about Muhammad bin Tughlaq quite a lot. Reputation. He was passing through Multan, Ulch. He knew that Muhammad bin Tughlaq gives a lot of money to people who are very fascinating. So he will be impressed by his, what we call as scholarship, given the Qazi and judge position. But by the last years of his life and the end of Muhammad bin Tughlaq's reign, he'll be thrown into prison. So the biggest mistake which Ibn Battuta did in life was to turn towards Delhi when he got to know about Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So these parochial songs, that is why Ibn Battuta is shown as a person who somehow represents a person who was very high one day and the next day was in jail. So there are multiple songs, multiple proverbial things in which Ibn Battuta is added, that you are you Ibn Battuta? That basically today you are the king, tomorrow you become the servant, or you are put into jail in that regard. Now, Vijayanagara, again coming back, you have Niccolo Conti visits Vijayanagara, throws light on socio-economic conditions. He talked about the Telugu language quite a lot, that how it is the Italian of the East. I've already given you the list of this in Vijayanagara. Then comes Peter Mundi. He's a very interesting personality, because Peter Mundi came during Shah Jahan's reign. But he gives a very contrasting picture of Mughal India. Because when Peter Mundi comes, he says that in India, people do not have food to eat. They don't wear footwear. And somehow the economic crisis which was going to follow was very well projected in Peter Mundi. And this is a very interesting thing, that if you read Shah Jahan's account, his court poets or his official accounts, there is no mention of day-to-day issues. But Peter Mundi gave a very interesting picture of how India was struggling equally at the time of Shah Jahan. Al-Masudi we've already discussed. Then come two very interesting personalities which again are etched in history. One is Marco Polo. You know, the book of Sir Marco Polo, Economic History of India, one of the best books written about the trade in the Andaman sector on the coasts, west and east coast of India. But then a French person who was very close to Shah Jahan, Francois Bernier. Bernier is a doctor, philosopher, historian. And he was very close to Shah Jahan for a very simple reason. When Shah Jahan's daughter, Roshanara, she got burnt very bad with oil. So Francois Bernier actually put what was ointment. He used his doctor, physician knowledge to revive the skin of Roshanara. And that made Shah Jahan very, very happy. And he was a very close physician of Dara Shikoh also. And there were two very interesting personalities in Shah Jahan's court. One, Danisman Khan, he's an Armenian and he's a scientist and intellectual. And Francois Bernier. Bernier's account again is considered very important. Talks about the diamond trade in India also quite a lot. Along with Tavernier. Tavernier and Bernier both talk about diamond trade quite a lot. So Ibn Battuta, just to consolidate, we know the book Rehala talks about his very bad hal or very bad picture in which he starts to show Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Conti, Abdul Razak, clear. Devrai 1, Devrai 2. This I've already given you the list previously. Then I've also talked about Nikitin, a Russian who came to the Bahmani kingdom, thought that there were no horses in India. And when he actually came to India, his horse was stolen. And then he went to Muhammad III to say that I have lost my horse. The horse was given back to him. Went back to Russia, traded 2-3 times. A Russian coming to India. Pius, we've already discusses the grandeur of Krishnadev Raya. Hawkins and Roe, the two who sold India, and Jahangir's 1613 and 1615 farmans were because of these two bastards that they were able to, in a way, convince Jahangir to give them access to Surat and thereafter Mauchlypatnam, Agra, and the Broch and the Bengal sector. Peter Mundi, as we already know, gives the account of the living conditions of people. The NCRT gives you a timeline. And remember, there are two Peter Mundis. One came from England, one came from Italy. So this is the Italian one. And this one is the English one. What you just do is that Muhammad III is the fourth ruler of the Bahmani kingdom. Comes after Firoz Shah Bahmani. So what you do is that you can just go through this. That you have Berni al-Biruni first, then Marco Polo, who comes between this 1254-1323 period, then Ibn Battuta, Abdul Razak, Nikitin, Barbosa, thereafter Montserrat, Spanish person, then you have Mundi, Tavernier, Bernier. As I said, Tavernier, Bernier, both from France, talk about the diamond trade quite a lot. So I have given you all the resources here. You just have to remember which century they are coming in. And this is again a technical space which is there. Now I want to discuss something more theoretical related to this topic. Can I do that? Which is, why do we study foreign travelers? Why do we study foreign travelers? Can we discuss that? Now you get what to do with this information. I've given you this information in this way so that you can understand it. Okay. Now the question is, why study foreign travelers? Can anybody tell me why do we study foreign travelers? This is a mains type question. Why do we study foreign travelers? Foreign accounts are more reliable. That is technically not true. To get balanced view, that's a good way of putting it. Perspective about India, good, because they've written book, okay. Provide accounts. Well, Hardeep says that they are more reliable. That is actually not true. Concrete, unbiased view. Not unbiased is okay. Concrete is not the right word. Depict socio-political economic perspective. Cross-check our accounts. Know many information. See, the reason why we actually go for foreign travelers is for two basic things. One is that they give us a contrasting picture, which is that we can corroborate indigenous sources. First things first, that we can give us a contrasting picture. You can corroborate what is the Indian text saying and what is the foreign traveler saying. Second, it is about an alternative perspective, which is that they see certain things, they notice things which Indian writers would not mention about. And I showed you that, for example, Pius was very fascinated by how Vijayanagara state used to make tanks. That is something Vijayanagara writers did not talk about. Foreign travelers, there's a rider. They can be unbiased. They can be unbiased, but sometimes they project things and facts which are not there. Wherein what they will do is that they will in a way project their understanding on India. I'll give you a very simple picture, a very, very good example. Was there Dasa Dasi tradition in Mauryan period? Was there Dasa Dasi tradition in Mauryan period? Yes. But Megasthenes says no. There is no slavery in India. Because his understanding of slavery and Indian slavery are different. So sometimes it happens that if I, for example, if I go and say to Donald Trump that you are for example, you are a Brahmin, does it make sense to him? In his mind, there is no reference point for Brahmin. Same way, they can't understand certain things in India, so they sometimes also give misinformation. But the biggest issue with foreign travelers is interpolation and wrong facts, or what we call as exaggerated facts. See, tell me one thing. You are in a country which you don't know, in front of a ruler who may not be may not be very prosperous. Would you go and say to his face that your kingdom is the smallest I've ever seen? Your kingdom is the one which I've never, you are the smallest of all I've seen? No. You will try to appease. So you will interpolate. Interpolate is distortion. You will distort and you will give exaggerated facts. This is what they used to do. 3,000 ports of Vijayanagara. Possible? Hey, nahi possible. There is no, not even possible. That much territory is not there with Vijayanagara. 110,000 horse elephants. That is the maybe the total population of elephants, Asiatic elephants in India. They tend to exaggerate grandeur. That is the problem which we have sometimes faced, and you have to understand it in that perspective. You have to understand it in that perspective, that we have to take it with a pinch of salt, that sometimes their facts are not too accurate that is. Getting my point? So these are the advantages which we have. These are the advantages which we have. This is the disadvantage which we have. This is disadvantage. All of this is advantage. Now, if they ask you why foreign travelers are important, you are capable of writing an answer. You have to just build up on these points. If you want, you can just write examples. 250 word answer, 150 word answer. Easily you can answer. Yes? Great. Now let's do one thing. Let's do the questions which we were doing, so that when we come back, we can then straight away go into intangible, tangible, and we can finish the course. We have to do intangible, tangible, miscellaneous, and other things. Okay. Now, let's do this question. With reference to art and architectural history of India, which one of the following was made earliest? What made earliest? Come on. Lingaraja, rock cut temple at Dhauli, Mahabalipuram, and Vara image. If this is a very difficult question, if you're able to answer it, very, very good. For this, you need understanding, very deep understanding of architecture. Avinav, that could have been, but we have to take that again as a pinch of salt. Sometimes certain things may be true also. Can't reject everything. Like this, use your understanding. Very good, 54%, highest it has ever been. Very good. See, let's try to cut it. See, you tell me one thing. Temple and Vara image. Vara image would mean which period? Most probably tell me. Vara image would mean what? It is the period of Bhagavatism. So Bhagavatism or Puranic Hinduism means Gupta. And Lingaraja temple again means Gupta. Mahabalipuram is associated with which dynasty? Mahabalipuram is which dynasty? Pallavas, very good. So now one thing is very clear. These don't stand. Because or these three in a way don't stand in a way, because this is late, this is also late. Because it is Pallavas, but it is saying rock cut and it is saying rock cut, we have two options. Because rock cut architecture comes first, then there will be Vara image, and then there will be temple. Though the Pallavas are after Guptas, but we are able to understand that Gupta, post-Gupta, these three are in the same ballpark figure. Now, rock cut, Mahabalipuram, and where have we found elephants, or where is the reference to elephants in Indian architecture? Where have we seen elephants architecture? I'll give you the chronological order, but tell me generally. Where have you seen elephant, lion standalone? Yes, Ashokan pillars. This is a difficult question. See, the basic sequence of this is going to be Ashokan Dhauli first. It is the first rock cut any form of animal figure we've ever seen. Elephant Dhauli is the oldest in that regard. Thereafter, you will have the Lingaraja temple at Bhubaneswar. Then you will have the Vara image, and the last will be Mahabalipuram because it is after the Gupta period. I can't give you exact sequence because there is no exact date of these temples. The point was, are you able to link this elephant with Ashoka? And that is the way you get it. It's an application of knowledge. It is actually application of knowledge. This is the most difficult question which came in 2015. It needed a certain application of understanding. If I remove all of this clutter, what I actually need to see is temple, image, rock cut, rock cut. So I should have automatically got these two incorrect. So very simply, a rock cut, you have to now decide which comes first, Mahabalipuram or Dhauli. And Dhauli, elephant, if you remember, I referred to it in the class. So the simple point is B, but if you got this incorrect, not to worry. It is a difficult question. It is a difficult question. Now this you should get correct. What is our common to the two historical places known as Ajanta and Mahabalipuram? Both were built in the same period. Both belong to the same religion or religious domination. Both have rock cut. Both have rock cut monuments. Which of the statements is are correct? Come on. By chance, the answer was also there. Shanawaz, that is the wrong images. Vara should be your reference point. Vara should be your reference point. Very good, 86%. I'm just noting down the topics we have to cover. Okay, 86% of you are totally correct. Very, very good. Very, very good. Very, very good. Ajanta is Buddhism. Mahabalipuram is Pancharath, which means Hinduism. So they can't be of the same denomination. This goes out. Then are they both of the same period? Ajanta is the Vaka Takas and Mahabalipuram is the Pallavas. So this is also incorrect. Do they have rock cut monuments? Yes, Ajanta has rock cut caves and Mahabalipuram has the Pancharath. Now you see how they are checking if you can apply your knowledge or not. It's not a factual question. It's an application of knowledge. That is the catch here. That is the catch here. It is application of knowledge, not knowing the fact. This is why I try to give you images and give you conceptual clarity. Okay. Now, you have not done this, so you can't do it. Yes. 2019. Building Kalyan Mandap was a notable feature in temple construction of which kingdom? Chalukya, Chandela, Rashtrakuta, Vijayanagara. Come on. Very easy question. Come on, come on, come on. Active reading, application of knowledge. That is what is needed. That is what is expected from you. In your sleep, if somebody wakes you up at 3 in the night and then does this and says, Kalyan Mandap, which period? Kalyan Mandap, which period? Vijayanagara period. Kalyan Mandapas are the most important feature of the Vijayanagara Empire. Rajputas don't have temples which are known for Chandelas, Chalukyas, not important. Okay. This question we've already done. So, questions done? Neha, don't have to worry. You just have to. I understand that you're lagging behind in certain things. There is a pressure. So, what to do with lag? Sir, part of modern India lectures. So, my best students already have. See, Neha, don't create unnecessary pressure on yourself. Firstly, before we talk about this issue, firstly, tell me, did this question make sense to you, and are you understanding something how the questions are being asked? Okay, now understand this point. The point is, you are, don't compare yourself vis-a-vis others, because that will never help you. That will never help you, because certain people are evening, certain people are morning, certain people are weekend. Everybody's strategy is different. Now, on the other hand, whilst you are comparing yourself with someone else, what will happen is that you will create a pressure on yourself which technically doesn't exist. So everybody's priorities are different, everybody's understanding is different, and everybody's schedule is different. So Neha, your question with regards to that, I'm not able to understand how modern India lectures I will be able to do. My batch students have already done it, completed with the other examination. Don't do that. Please don't do that, because what will happen is maybe you have done subjects which they haven't done. So keep it simple. You have your own life, you have your own pressures, you have your own schedule. You just have to manage them vis-a-vis each other. Right? So can we take a break now? Can we take a break? And we'll come back at 5:35 and then finish the 5 to 6 smaller topics which are left. Yes? Perfect. Vivek, you want to see the leaderboard? You see the leaderboard. So Vivek, you want to see the leaderboard, but your name isn't there. So we have what? Nitin, Narendra, Akanksha, Shubham, Neha, Hardeep, Vivek. Your name? All questions are correct. That is why you're looking for it. Janishtas, Samita, Abhinav, Tagdiz, Shahnawaz, Himanshu, Kunal, Kashish. Okay. So we'll come back at 5:35 and let's finish our course at 8 p.m. See you. Take care. Bye-bye.